All right, kids, there is Panama Paper pandemonium going on right now, and if you don't know what this involves, you will shortly because you are going to hear about this for a while. For a while. Anyway, let's talk about it. So, if you haven't heard what the Panama Papers are, basically it's 11.5 million documents that have been released from a Panamanian law firm called Mossack Fonseca or Fonseca, something like that. But this is a ton of data. I think that the Young Turks channel on YouTube advised that it was 2.7 terabytes of information that were released. That's compared to the WikiLeaks leak back in 2010. That was only 1.7 gigabytes, and that was a ton of information. That led to the whole like Snowden and all that craziness. But how nutso bananas is it to have this much information readily available to the public, and yet nobody really has an idea of what the Panama Papers are? Because even while I do this video, I'm not exactly sure what incriminating or evidentiary support do these documents have, but basically they're targeted at world leaders of major countries around the world, and so far, the only world leader to take the hit, as Iceland's Prime Minister Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson. It's a hard name to pronounce, but he stepped down as of today, Tuesday, April 5th, because of this scandal. And let's talk about it. He's a toe in the water. I mean, he is a raindrop in said ocean of debauchery and fuckery, because honestly, they're testing the waters on how the public's going to take this information. They want to see if the masses just go carnivorous on this David guy, or if he's going to be let, a pass because he came out willingly with this information. I'm very curious to see how this plays out, but that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. Just we don't have a lot of information to go off yet. The people who are releasing the information, which is journalists far and wide, the leak from the law firm was leaked to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, so people hopefully around the world that we can trust. But it's basically taking 400 journalists a year to sift through all of these documents, and they have admitted to 140 different world leaders from 50 different countries being involved in these economic scandals. And they keep giving teasers because with all these documents that have been released so far, Iceland being the most prominent, but people are being like, well, where is America? Where's the empire, right? The world's empire right now. Where is that? Because the world leaders, it just seems too squeaky clean, right? Well, the people releasing this are like, oh, you just wait. Because they're claiming that America's leaders are going to be the icing on the cake. So what does that tell us when we now, as of today, have Obama releasing press releases saying this is a travesty, we cannot allow institutions to be able to find loopholes in tax laws? But nobody's tackling the subject. He already knew. He already knew. Are you telling me that these companies were duping the American government? No, he knew. He knew, and they were tax breaks, and it was all in coercion and collusion. And I mean, these are people working together. It's companies with money interests working with politicians with no backbones. And it's, it's a give and take of shittery. Like, really, as the people, we need to call this buffoonery out, because the longer we let it go and we pretend we don't see it, the more our government just fucking thinks we're so stupid, people. We need to have real conversations about how stupid our governments think we are, because to commit such audacious crimes with our money, while our brothers and sisters are dying in the streets, whether it's from brutality from the cronies above us or dying in poverty and hunger. It's just insane to me that we're going to sit and squabble with each other. We're going to blame people on welfare. We're going to blame minorities, or we're going to blame people and say they're lazy because they don't get jobs. Well, the jobs aren't there. The jobs are being taken away. This is proof of that. The governments and world leaders across this entire globe are stealing your hard-earned money, and you want to blame the this, that, and the other down the street. Okay, that's the problem we're in. Let's face the facts that doing that routine hasn't worked well for us in the last 60 years. Let's pull in the horse, take the reins, and say, you know what, the leaders of this world right now, awful job. You're doing an awful job. We hereby, as the people of the world, want you to step down. You're awful. Like, how are we going to allow the people who run this country and this world to stay in office after finding out that they are taking our money and investing it in companies offshore, to then turn the company into an offshore company, to then spend that money without it being taxed by America? So far, that's all I really know that the Panama Papers are proving that these world leaders are doing, taking our hard-earned money and, putting us in this fiat currency, this worthless, indebted to one family currency, when we should obviously be on currency that's backed by gold and silver. Our money's worthless. We're accruing debt constantly, and then we have world leaders who have the balls to release these statements. Like Hillary Clinton is in a tape that they're releasing part of this pro-Bernie campaign, because the beauty that is in all of this corruption is that Bernie Sanders in 2011 stood up for the people and said, absolutely not. This Panama trade agreement does nothing for the people of America. He proved that Panama only had an economic output of $26 billion a year. He said that's a fraction of a percent of the U.S. economy. It's not going to benefit U.S. jobs. And yet Hillary Clinton went on record the next day, after he said, absolutely not, I do not vote for this, to praise Obama for pushing it through, because Obama, along with the Clintons, are in this for the money, right? They're in this for the control, the power, and the money, and that's what we need to see. It's that basic. It is that basic. You can pick apart the things that you like about certain presidents and that you don't, but when it comes down to it, were you a person of the people or were you not? Were you a good guy or were you a bad guy? Were you a good leader or were you a bad leader? And the Clintons, Obama, all of Bush, all of those dynasties and stuff fall into the bad leader category. A lot of atrocities have been committed towards journalists, towards immigrants, the borders, all of this under Obama's administration. Clinton's administration was just as awful, with the war on drugs, imprisoning the black community for minor marijuana possession. Like, this is insanity, and it's what we're dealing with, and yet people want to boast about Bill Clinton or boast about President Obama or put Hillary in office. I mean, the stupidity that's being talked about, it's really fantastic. It's crazy to me. However, the really cool part is that with Bernie saying absolutely not, Panama Trade Act makes no sense, that's resurfacing now, and it shows he is for the people. It shows economically he has our back. He has the hardworking Americans back. And if you don't see that, this Panama paper bullshit is going to show you flat out that Hillary will sell the American people for $1. And Barack has sold American people for $1. It's all about the money to them, the oil interest, the lobbying, the control, and, the torture and the threats, I'm sure. The stuff we aren't being made privy to is because control, and that's what money is. Money equals control, control equals slavery, money equals slavery. This is just point blank information. Since I don't have a lot more to give you on the Panama Papers, I want to keep this video kind of short. I want more opinions from you guys. Clap back in comments below. I'm really curious to hear what people who are already aware of the Panama Papers think of this situation. I have a couple friends on Facebook who are blindly praising Obama for tackling this issue today in the morning. Well, he didn't tackle the issue, he had to get behind it because America's involved and he knows his damn name is going to be read off that paper. He's just sweating on what they're going to release. So, I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think major world leaders here in America are going to be on that document? Do you think we're going to find out that we've blindly been following a corrupt, money-driven government? Ding, ding. But I'm curious. Because, like I said, a friend of mine on Facebook, super pro Bernie, posted how he's praising Obama for standing up and saying the world leaders across this globe need to be held accountable, but then not taking any blame on America's hands or even Europe. And that just makes no sense, because were the biggest world leaders, were of course involved in this massive economic scandal, and yet our leaders have no spine and choose to not admit to their guilt, and that's so unpatriotic. Our founding fathers and people like Paul Revere, these saints in our minds, these people we praise for being so patriotic, would roll over in their graves for us praising these fucking evil dictators. For real, it's a dictator when all you have in mind is the power of money rather than the harmony of a people that work together. Anyway, I'm going to start rambling again, so I'm going to cut this dry. Leave your comments below. I'm super curious. Get conversation started. Please comment if you don't know anything about Panama Paper, if you are just new to the information, or maybe you're somebody who's heard of it for a while. Maybe you're somebody who's been watching it since Bernie Sanders talked about it in 2011. This is kind of new information for me. I'm the first to admit I don't pay attention to all world issues in baby stages. I don't have the mind capacity, the patience. I can't do that. So, please contribute to conversation. You can agree, you can disagree. You're not censored in comments below, but let's try to have thoughtful and progressive conversation and not just get mad at each other and mudsling and tear each other down for being fucking whatever. Like, just stop. Let's have adult conversation and make this a place where it would be really cool to pass along knowledge. If you want to clap back with some fucking stupid faggotry comment, that's fine too. Do you? Anyway, take care of yourself the rest of the day. Look into this Panama Paper issue. It is a big deal, and really start paying attention to supporting Bernie Sanders. Hashtag feel the burn. I'm telling you, kids. Peace out.